In today's lesson, we're going to be looking at how to make clipping marks, or how to clip image into a marks. If that doesn't really make sense, you'll see this sample on your screen. So this is what we mean by clipping marks. So with the idea of clipping marks, you could actually make various designs depending on what you want to do, maybe for banners, depending on your creative style or your ideology. So you could do it for print for t-shirts, you can see this star wall design here. So clipping marks is something like you have a text and you have an image showing inside of the text. So the image is not showing completely. You know, there are two different things, the text and the image. So if you look at this now, this is what we mean by clipping marks. You have an art cover plus a love, then you get your what? You get your art with the love inside. That's just what a clipping marks is. So this is the idea. So it's very useful. It looks very, let's say, minute, like something that is not much of a big deal. But depending on your concept, you can actually make your designs look epic. So what we're just going to do is we're just going to be designing a basic one from scratch using shapes. I'm just going to do Ctrl-N. I just like using 2000 by 2000, even though the file is sort of large. So I want to use a rounded rectangle. So I'll just draw the normal rectangle. But to make it rounded, I click on these points to make it rounded. Baby steps. I can click on this down button or this anchor here to sort of stretch it. And if you want to make it even, you hold the shift key while you are drawing. If you wanted to make it even from scratch, that's equal length and equal breadth. Another thing I'd like to do is Ctrl-T. I just like to rotate this. Okay, you see that we have to resize the rounded edge because now it's looking more or less like a circle. So if you check your properties section, if you are not seeing these properties, you can come to Windows and you can see property. In case yours is not available, Windows properties to turn it on. And if you want to access your shapes using shortcuts, definitely if you right click here, you can see that I use the shortcut key. So to shuffle between them, you'd have to be using Shift U. So I just give you a sample U. I'll press U, it's on rectangle. If I press Shift U, is that it has changed to a circle. Looking at the shape we have here, Shift U again, it has changed to a triangle. Shift U, it has also changed to a polygon. So I'll click here, U, so I can get the properties of the shape. The shape and sort of like its color. This is what I mean by its color. What you have here, that's the tool that is active. Has to be on for you to be able to access most of its properties. So I can just do this. Let me reduce. You see that I'm reducing the rounded edges. V to go back to my move tool. Then I can make different copies like this. Okay, I'm seeing something now. Alright, so I'll just do this. How about we do something like an X-Men advert? So you can actually use this depending on your creative concept, but we know that the distance between each of them varies. So you can do Control to, can we check the distance like this using the Control key? Not really. So we just use our eyes to sort of gauge it, or you can use your grid to sort of check the distance. So check the distance. So what we can do is, from what we have here, we Control J, we Control G to group, Control J to duplicate, Control G to group. So I'll just save it as X1, then Shift both of them, Control G, X2. Then for X1, I'll just do Control T to activate my transform tool. So the next thing I want to do now is just to flip it. Look at your menu bar. Let's just put minus. Oh, that was wonderful. So that's Control Enter. You see what we're having now. So we have a very simple shape, simple shape. What else could we do? I think this is good enough for just simplicity. So that's it. In case you're confused, where did that X pop from? Remember we made a copy. I'll do Control Z. When I turn this off, you see that nothing changes. Why? If I do Control T, you see that we made a copy actually, but then it was in the same position. We can still use this. This is looking like a film stuff. That's for those that are into filmmaking. It actually, when you see something like this, you know, it is looking like a film, a photography film. of the old days. So I'll just stick to, let's use this, we can use an X, we can do both. So from here, I'll just Ctrl C both of them. Ctrl C. Why is it not moving the second one? I can't define this. Ctrl C. Ctrl C. Okay. Yes, we'll have to move them separately then. Ctrl Enter. Ctrl C. Move it. So, next thing we want to do is we want to bring the image we'd like to clip inside of our design. So I'll just go for one of my pictures. Closer. Where do I have them? Upper downloads. I have them in a Rocky folder. 25th. Woody strip. Should I use the strip? Let's use, which one should we use? Okay, this should be myself, strip grid. So, you could use, I hate choosing. I hate options. Let's pick anyway. All of the pictures are cool. Let me pick this one. Okay. That'll be a rare picture of me green. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to group both X1 and X2. Or, let's see if this works. 1. Okay, we'll have to group both of them. So what we are doing is this. We would like to press the Alt key, hold it down. When you hold it down and you hover over your 2 file, you are going to see this new anchor that pops up. If you notice the hand, from the hand to this is moving to a box that has an arrow facing down, like a U-turn direction sort of. So once you click, it clips inside it. So what I can do is, since I have the image selected, I can move the image. Since I have the image selected, I can do Ctrl C to activate the transform tool. Then I can move the image so you could have cool effect like this. So what we want to do is, we want it to be applied on both phases of rectangle set that we have out there. So I'm just going to Ctrl Z, okay? I'm going to group both of them. I'm going to call them Master X. Master X, enter. Then I'll hold the Alt key. You see, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, literally. So I can activate the transform tool, Ctrl C, bring it down. So with this, you can think of something creative to do with something like this. In fact, you can use this for puzzle. If you want to create a puzzle game, jigsaw puzzle, whatever puzzle, all you just have to do is clip it. So that's actually how it works. Who knew that? Any of your puzzles. So you have an image, break them down into sets, and you just rearrange it. So we could create a puzzle with this. But after we have broken everything down, and we'll move it up and down. So it's a very creative concept as well. So like they all say, or like we all know, you're only limited by your imagination. And that will be all for our Clipping Max tutorial. So do something creative with it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to AL Online on YouTube, Activators Online on IG, and myself on the socials you see on your screen. I look forward to seeing you in my next Photoshop video.